You see, what they're asking me to do is direct a show at the King's Hall that's got 20 scenes, 7 little kids with enormous parts competing against a film that everybody's seen, and all in 6 weeks.
Herne Bay has come down with a bad case of amateur theatricals. The infection, one of the biggest musicals of all time. The leading man will be Derek Cooper. He's used to leading roles, but he's never attempted anything quite as big as this. Ever since the first rehearsal a month ago, he's been wrestling with the part towards the opening night next week, when he'll perform it before the people of the town.
A drop of golden sun.
Rehearsal has become epidemic. It's everywhere and all the time. Connie Kyra, 42-year-old mother of 5, is going to do the Julie Andrews part, as tough a challenge as you could hope to find in Herne Bay.
I drink with jam and bread.
Herne Bay is a dormitory town on the north coast of Kent. Its rhythms out of season are not exciting. It's a shut-down place of cramped horizons. 6 out of every 10 people here are pensioners. One end of the seafront is known as the Costa Geriatrica. In the younger households, life tends to be regulated by the commuter trains to London, the 7 a.m. shave, the 7:58 to the city.
Last summer the snow may you bloom and grow.
Turning into an Austrian aristocrat lends life an extra dimension for a man who, off stage and behind spectacles and a leather-topped city desk, is Mr. Cooper of Cooper Gay Insurance Brokers.
It's a relaxation and something different. I wouldn't like you to think that one has to be released, shall we say, like from an incarceration, or shall we say from a mental home or something like that, to get away from the city. No, it is something completely different, and I think indulging in something completely different, perhaps one could say one is more able and more refreshed to come back to do one's work.
You employ some 60 people here. Do they know that you leave your solid desk and go down to Herne Bay and become Von Trapp of an evening?
Well, I think probably my fellow directors do, and maybe 1 or 2 of the staff do, but generally speaking, probably the members of my company are not aware of my extramural activities.
I go to the hills where my heart is low.
Do you think they'd be at all surprised to find out you do this?
I don't really know. Perhaps some might, and it depends how they regard me. I can always remember as I was a young man in the office, looking at the directors and seeing them as rather dragon-like, and I think probably I would be rather surprised if some of the directors I can think of firms I worked for when I was in my late teens and early 20s, had I thought of them cavorting on the stage, I would have laughed from here to kingdom come. But probably so. I think a lot of them, if they did know that I did indulge in this sort of activity, they'd probably have a giggle.
Derek Cooper sees it as an escape from routine. For Connie Kyra, it's an escape from herself.
Well, I think of myself as being a very insignificant sort of person. And I suppose that when I take on a part, I become a character that's already formed, and I can get inside that character and put it out to other people for their enjoyment, I hope. I mean, if a person's got to be horrible, I hope that I can be horrible, and if she's got to be funny, I like to think that I can make people laugh, or she's got to sing, I hope that I can sing and give people pleasure. But why I do it, I don't know, really.
Part of the answer to that lies up in the city with Connie's husband, Vic Kyra.
Mr. Kanpuri, Esquire, P.O. Box 1630, Tehran, Iran.
Vic Kyra comes from an Italian family and he rules his world with the grip of a benevolent mafia godfather. He runs his company, his 5 sons, his yacht in the south of France, and the Herne Bay Sound of Music. He put up the money, he decided who he wanted to direct in it and act in it, he invited them to take part. To play the lead, he invited his wife.
My job here is to formulate policies and give instructions for them to be carried out and see they're carried out. And I think as the producer of The Sound of Music, this has really been my role. I've seen the show my way as far as general cohesion of it goes. The artistic side, of course, is under Dominic's control, but the whole cohesion of the thing and arranging rehearsals and that sort of thing has been my sphere, and I think it's really an extension of the sort of work I do here.
For you, it has to do with power, quite a lot.
I think perhaps that's right. Some years ago, I left the city to become a school teacher, and from your remark, one could look back on that and say, well, that was one way of obtaining some power, but I couldn't make ends meet at school teaching. I was doing a part-time job to bring up a family, and I came back to the city, and so I suppose in that sense, yes, there's an element of power in my satisfaction.
Dominic Adams is the man Vic chose to direct his production. Dominic works in the city, but he lives for the theatre. To Dominic, the theatre is like water to a fish, like sand to an ostrich, like a flame to a moth. He's a theatreholic. That he must tear himself away 5 times a week, catch the 7:58 and go and be an insurance underwriting clerk at Lloyd's is something to be endured.
Morning.
Usual carriage, usual fellow commuters, usual thoughts. Not about work, not about family, not about the news, about the theatre.
It's the thing that I like doing most. I mean, I go to work to earn my living, and obviously I want to do that as well as possible. But I go to work so that I can enjoy my leisure time. Probably if I had more guts or more sort of faith in my own ability, I might try to do it for profession. You see, there are 2 sorts of people who do amateur dramatics. There are the people who do it for fun, who I'm not interested in, and the people who do it for satisfaction, who I am. You see, the people who do it for fun give the amateur theatre a bad name. I mean, everybody sort of thinks of, oh, they mucked the lines up and it was a gig, all the sets fell down and all this sort of stuff. You know, I mean, if one of my sets ever fell down, that would be a major disaster, and I'd like to go away and cry somewhere. I'm not interested in doing it for fun. As far as I'm concerned, I would like people to think that the only difference between me and a professional was the fact that he got paid and I was doing it for the love of it. Oh, there's applause there. Okay, go and get the chair, Peter.
Among the trim bungalows of Herne Bay, it's all too easy to pick out Dominic's. Its front fence fell symbolically to pieces while he was too busy rehearsing to patch it up. It was the same story with his marriage.
My wife and I didn't see eye to eye on the amount of commitment. I tried to cut it back. It's an addictive thing. I couldn't cut it back enough to satisfy her, and well, we got, you know, it was a contributory cause to the fact that our marriage didn't work.
There were 2 children. One went with Dominic's wife. The other, a small boy called Richard, is still with him, cared for during the day by friends and relatives. Dominic's marriage suffered from the theatre. What about his job?
My boss might one of these days turn around and say, the amount of time you spend in your leisure time leaves you exhausted at work time, and we're not getting our best. I suppose then I'm going to have to sort of start making up my mind as to, you know, what I ought to do. I hope it doesn't do that. I think that I work better because I have a satisfactory leisure time than I do otherwise.
If you go to see Dominic at Lloyd's, he makes you feel that you're visiting a man in prison.
15%. I always stay till 4:30 on the dot, unless there's just no brokers around, because after all, if there's no brokers coming to see me, I can't actually do any business. I mean, I'll work through coffee breaks and lunch hours and things, but I like to go home at 4:30. I mean, I'll stay to 5. We did have a nasty period when we had to stay to 6 for a little while. When the dove busts, when the bees sting, when I'm feeling sad, I always remember my favourite things, and then I don't feel...
By 5:45, he's at the Over 60s Club Hall for the 23rd rehearsal. Only 2 more to go to opening night, and it's not enough. There are 1,001 things that still aren't right, and his cast have been showing signs of strain.
You never heard such phrase.
They've studied their lines till their brains hurt, but some of them still aren't perfect.
But they make people happy.
It's for the festival, Georg. People come from...
And their movements are still awkward.
There's a tendency for everybody to hug the furniture. You know, you don't need to huddle together for warmth, and you're upstaging yourself continually. So watch out over the Rev's shoulder very slightly, rather than down, and watch. You're playing front after all. Okay.
Vic has hired in a few costumes from the original London stage production. The others he's detailed off members of the cast to make. For this grand charity production, he's brought together 2 rival amateur theatre clubs. It's a big show, and if advance tickets weren't already selling well at the box office, he'd have reason to worry.
If nobody had turned up, £700 would have come out of my pocket. But as it happens, of course, a lot of bills haven't come in, so that I've probably expended only a couple of £100 at the moment. And I won't expend any more, because now we've got so much money coming in from tickets and things that...
The tickets are selling well in advance.
Exceptionally well. In fact, better than any other show that we've had.
So Sound of Music is a winner?
Oh, certainly, without a doubt, yes. I'm hoping that it's going to have houseful notices every night of the week, next week, and it's never been done before.
Right, you're on.
Friedrich's afraid to be himself. He's shy and aloof.
I do not need you to tell me about my son.
Brigitte could tell you about him. She could tell you a lot more if you got to know her. I had to get away from the Julie Andrews image, but I read the story of Maria. Why? Well, because I'm not anything like Julie Andrews. I don't sing like her, I don't look like her. Obviously, there's a basic character that Julie Andrews had, but I've read the book, and I think I've got a pretty good idea of the character of Maria von Trapp. And Gretel. Little Gretel just wants to be loved. Oh, Captain Love, little Gretel, love all of them.
Stop.
Being leading man gives Derek a certain sexual status, something his new wife, Willie, who's one of the women in the chorus, is well aware of.
Oh, definitely. Yes, I think some people do get rather carried away. I mean, you often see the leading ladies and leading men tending to fall in love with each other all over the place, which I think will happen in an amateur society, because you're thrown together so much. People, I think this is why we're ideally situated, because we both belong, and so we're always there together. But I mean, in some circumstances, I know when the wife goes out and leaves the husband at home, or the husband goes out and the wife's at home, and it's a more glamorous life. You obviously get unpleasantness.
It really does happen, does it?
Oh, yes. Well, it happened to me. Yes, it does happen.
How come?
Well, I'm sure Derek won't mind, will you?
No.
Well, and it happened to you in some respects. I mean, I was married, and I wasn't prepared to give up the stage. I mean, I tried. I gave it up for 6 months when I first got married. I said I wouldn't have anything to do with it. But I lost all my friends, and life was very meaningless as far as I was concerned, and so I went back to it. And unfortunately, my husband couldn't see anything in it, and so we drifted apart.
Okay. And come in to kiss now.
But I think there is a real danger, and I have seen it in shows that I've been in over the years, that people get really involved in their character, and I think particularly if they are playing a romantic part with somebody of the opposite sex, they become really involved.
Black.
They probably are sensible enough at the end of the show to sort of dismiss it, but I think their intensity of feeling for this person during the time where they are playing a romantic opposite them is a very real one, and is something which has to be watched. I think you would agree, even when you're very close to your wife or to your husband, you cannot help, I don't think, this feeling. This isn't peculiar to the amateur theatre. It happens in the professional stage and in the cinema. And I think this is the reason, because unless I think you are a reasonably sane person, you can succumb to these pressures and think and take what is just infatuation, if you like, as something which is serious.
And what about that much-kissed heroine's husband?
Oh, I've watched her kiss leading men for so many shows, and in fact she doesn't kiss him as much as she did in, for instance, Bless the Bride, where she always seemed to be in the leading man's arms. But we started off, we met in a show, and I kissed her, and this was the start of our life, and you know, it doesn't really worry me. I've seen other people who have been emotionally involved when they do that, but I think it's mainly when they get their first lead and they have to kiss their first leading man, but after that it doesn't seem to worry them very much.
Husbands and wives have been known to change hands in the course of plays, though, haven't they?
Yes.
In Herne Bay?
Yes. A little, but I don't suppose any more in Herne Bay than anywhere else, but that's true. Some less mature people do find that their emotions run away with them a little bit, but not to any great extent. I don't think it's a very big problem.
You feel quite secure?
Oh, I do, yes, but I suppose everybody else did when it happened. But no, I think, you know, because she has done so many leads and kissed so many leading men, it doesn't worry me particularly.
Okay, let's take it again, Tony. Come on again, please. Right, and...
Yes, but the children.
We can help them, but we can do it without help. You will have help.
A tower of strength in the show is Anita Sargent, wife of the town clerk. When they're all tired and the rest of Herne Bay has gone to bed, her staying power and her effortless voice keep them going, men, women, and children.
You must go back from the line cue. It won't... No.
I'm sorry, though. Just listen to that, G. Now, all the top line sing 3 minutes down.
Okay.
The mountains and hills shall break forth before you into singing.
The low key. I really think there's a fairly reasonable chance it mightn't be too bad. In fact, it's in danger of being quite good if we're not careful. Shush, no. But that's only if we go really well. That's only if we go really well on Sunday. We've got a lot of work to do. It's a tough day for Alan and his crew, and they're going to need all the help they can muster. We've got an orchestra to fit in. We've got 2 sets of kids. It's an awful lot to do. Please, I beg of you on Sunday, cooperate. Make it easy.
Sunday is dress rehearsal, crucial, the first and only time the actors can try out their movements in the King's Hall with the scenery in place, the first time that the scene men can put their scenery together.
Say that again. Get it. And one for the old lady, get it.
Richard, Dominic's son, is here. Since the marriage broke up, Dominic has kept the boy with him at rehearsals as much as possible, and the cast have all sympathised. But today, there's a rift. Vic has decreed that Richard may not stay with his father. No children except those in the play.
There have been some problems with some people who would like to make this a family occasion and bring down their children to see dress rehearsal, but I feel that this is much too distracting for everybody concerned, and I feel that a dress rehearsal shouldn't be an occasion for a family outing, and so I've had to make the rule that no other children would come down here.
You feel that if you make a rule, it really must be kept?
Oh yes, certainly I do. I don't know what would have happened if they had turned up with their children, but I'm very pleased to say I've always had from them very good support, and even those that disagreed have not brought their children down. They've gone along.
I think there have been some sort of murmurings of dissent and people feeling that they've been pushed around a bit by you. That's inevitable, I suppose.
Well, yes, I'm sorry about that. I think the result of the production next week will show that the wisdom of what I've done.
If I was in the position of Vic, I wouldn't change my decision.
You wouldn't?
You think you should?
I think he should, yes. I think Richard's part of us. He's part of the production team, as far as I'm concerned. And I think it's dreadful. I'm ever so upset for Richard, you know. I think it's terrible. I think he should come down.
And the aim of the whole exercise, the whole putting on the play, is supposed to be, what, pleasure for a group of people?
Of course it is. You don't want to have a you know, we always run to a democracy. This is downright, you know, this is downright,
Yes, but looked at from a practical point of view, we always know there's always a lot of noise goes on at dress rehearsals.
Yes.
From that point of view, a purely actor's personal point of view, I'm looking forward to this afternoon because we're going to have a much more serious dress rehearsal than we've ever had before. But I think if you make a rule, you can't change it for anyone. But if there's any relaxation, probably Dominic's Richard is the one person who should be relaxed. But if I was in Vic's position, I wouldn't bend.
So but I disagree with you, see, I disagree with you.
All together now.
By the time the dress rehearsal starts, there's been a compromise. Richard can stay for a time, then he must go. Vic insists.
Ray.
All right, Vi? Okay. We've got an orchestra that leaves at 6. Okay, so are we ready? Buddy there? Okay?
Already, Dominic is tense. The scenery is causing hold-ups, and his scene shifters, a carefree bunch of do-it-yourself men, aren't taking it seriously. They're all working against the clock. The amateur orchestra, such as it is, stops at 6. Tomorrow, when the show opens, it'll be reinforced by a detachment of Marines from the School of Music over at Deal.
Eager young lads and cruets and cats will offer you food.
But until then, the music must come from available talent, and Dominic must make the best of it.
you feel dressing up in these clothes? Because you like trendy gear, don't you?
He looks funny like that.
I like the sort of stuff that I wear, flares and...
What about you? How do you find the dancing?
Oh, it's a bit good, because I go tap dancing and ballet dancing.
So you know a lot about it? Come on, you better go.
The children hop coolly from backstage confusion out into front stage calm, and the various strands of the production begin to knit together around them.
Well, anyway, God bless one.
The children have more quick changes than a Dior model, and that's going to be another problem for Dominic.
Quiet in the hall.
Stop. You will pack your things.
Go on, okay.
When we have the queue again, I'm sorry it wasn't ready.
Have we not got anybody there yet?
Sorry, Don, the boys aren't ready yet. They've gone off downstairs to dress.
I mean, we must have some people on the side of the stage, one person per child. And all those quick changes must be done on the side.
You're here, right.
And it's covering a scene change. I'll lose all the continuity and everything. We've got to purchase a little band that goes home at 6. Now, somebody must organise the changing of the kids. Okay, he must have a tie, that boy. A, it doesn't look right if he hasn't, and B, it won't work anyway because of the dialogue. Okay? Back again, start it again, please. Has he got a tie? If it works in London, it's got to work here, for heaven's sake. We'll take the tie, we'll do the tie this evening, because I've got a band that goes at 6. All right? All right, we'll start with the two little ones, Daff, and then we'll at least give them a chance to play it. Come on, then, and... Come on, buddy. Oh, not again. What did they go for? Oh, for God's sake. I'd accept them in their underpants if necessary, but let's get on with it.
Did that happen?
Oh, there's not room here, is there, really? Not room or time for them to get changed.
Go right back to... Stop. Back to your tape. Okay.
The scenery just isn't doing what it's meant to do. The hills have refused to roll up, the abbey walls fluttered, and it's all the fault of the stage manager.
Alan, sorry to be a bore. Come and tell me what happened. I mean, logically it should work, shouldn't it? Am I going to have to ask you to do it again to make sure you can do it? I think I better. Please.
Right, can we take 10 minutes to get those packed?
Okay. Tell the cast, would you, Margaret, please? We must sort this out. I can't afford to have that sort of delay tomorrow. If we lose it there, we're in terrible trouble. Take the house tab in and work.
How's it gone?
Do you want me to really tell you? Well, you name it, it's gone wrong, hasn't it? This is, as you can appreciate, this is a terrible show to do. It's too big. What we've tried to do is a bit too much for a particular hall.
You're open tomorrow night. What are you going to do about it?
What are we going to do about it? Work like stink all day tomorrow.
Will you get it organised?
Yes. Keeping fingers crossed. Yes. We'll have to. Just have to.
Okay. I've always thought of these mountains as my friends.
I've always thought of these mountains as my friends.
But things are going to get worse. There's another act to get through yet. If it's to work, they must pull out all the theatrical stops and at the same time coordinate the movements of 27 people all on stage together. And they know that every missed cue and every bungled scene change is driving the director, somewhere out there in the stalls, towards breaking point.
We're in Switzerland.
Yes, but Maria, the children.
Oh, we can help them. We can do without help.
You will have help, for you shall go forth with joy, and be led forth with peace. The mountains and hills shall break forth before you into singing.
Dream that will need
the music. Come back. Till you find your dream, dolls. I'm sorry. Dream. Listen to the tempo of the music. Alan, I want that whole mountain set over this way more.
Monday morning, Dominic has achieved the calm of resignation and commuted off to Lloyd's. Tonight in Herne Bay is opening night.
You're going to the Sound of Music?
No, I don't suppose so.
Why not?
Well, we never go to shows like that anyway. It's too far from home.
Too far? How far?
Well, I live the other end of the town.
Pardon? Going to the Sound of Music?
Not at the moment, no. Shall be in due course, yes.
Are you going to the Sound of Music?
No, no.
Why not?
Well, I'm busy. I have to get lunch in the evening.
You're booked already, are you?
Yes. Yes.
Ah. Do you go to the most amateur productions here?
Yes, most of them.
You're going to the Sound of Music?
No, 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 no. 1,000 times no.
You're going to the Sound of Music?
Sylvia, are you? Going to the Sound of Music? No, we're not.
Yes, we are going tonight.
Yes, we're
Tonight?
going
Opening night?
Yes, opening night tonight.
Looking forward to it?
Yes.
Do you go to a lot of the amateur shows
Yes,
here?
yes, we like the amateur shows. They're very good.
By evening, it's clear that there's going to be a full house. Connie and Vic leave for the theatre in their new Jaguar, knowing that among other first-night hazards they must face the critic. In his father's borrowed Vauxhall, Kevin Geary, junior reporter, Herne Bay Press.
They like to think they're very good, a lot of them. And they like to have good reviews on everything, which I don't think does a lot of good all the time. As long as they're being criticised, I hope they learn from what I criticise about them, you know.
Do you want to end up as a drama critic? Is it the direction
no, I don't think so, really. I prefer to continue in the sports line or features or something like this. I find that far more enjoyable. I like sports a lot myself. I don't mind doing drama criticisms, but it's not really my cup of tea.
My loves, all the best then. Thank you. Okay? Thank you. Because you're on any minute. You've got 5 minutes, literally. The 5-minute call coming at any time. Be good. Smile. All right. That's it. That's the silent one. That's the one I want.
Backstage there are nerves. Some of them are looking forward to getting off the stage more than to getting on. But in the auditorium, it's as smooth as a royal premiere.
This has brought it to perfection.
Yes.
And you've got a treat in store for you, I can
Yes, I understand.
All the best, my darling. You've got 30 seconds to beat the clock. Starting from now. If you were in a professional theatre, you will be fine at this point because you're supposed to be on a half-an-hour call. All right, then. You're a true glamour, Stein. It's got to come down a bit.
I'm here, thank you.
Suppressing the memory of the disastrous dress rehearsal, they're sure it'll all come together tonight.
Get on, get off, get home. It's a long show and the bar shuts at 10:30.
Beginners on stage, please.
Lights down, curtain up. If it worked in London, it's got to work here.
Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. When you read, you begin with A, B, C. When you sing, you begin with do, re, mi. Do, re, mi. Do, re, mi. The first 3 notes just happen to be do, re, mi. Do, re, mi. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Oh, come on. I'll make it easier for you. Listen. Do, a deer, a female deer. Re, a drop of golden sun.
Most people think amateur magic is a joke, and they can't understand why people get so worked up about it and are so enthusiastic, and why quite responsible people. I mean, look at the production we're doing. There's a managing director of a broking firm, there's an advertising executive, and various other people who are not stupid or by any manner of means, quite intelligent people who are very enthusiastic and devote an awful lot of time and energy, not to just having fun, to doing it well.
My heart will be blessed with the sound of the music.
It's going well. All the quirks seem to be disappearing. The sight of 600 expectant faces out in front is keeping everyone on their toes. No one notices that the Herne Bay Urban District Council's hall smells of stale beer from last week's bingo party. No one thinks about the snow showers outside and how are they going to get home along the icy seafront. They just watch the children and lap up the songs. For the cast, it's better than bingo, better than knitting, better than golf, better than watching TV. It's like other hobbies, only more so.
Oh, yes, I want to see everything. And with you, too. I don't know any of your names yet, and it'll take me a long while, but it doesn't matter. My name's Martha.
What was chaos has become clockwork.
Yes, you're quite right. I don't know my own children.
Dominic's tantrums have paid off. Everything is happening as it should.
After I've gone...
No. I want you to stay.
Well, almost. That villa isn't quite as firm as it looks.
What are you doing? Holding this up. How long are you going to have to hold it up for? Don't know. How long is this act? I don't know. Half an hour, no. Could be half an hour, could be 10 minutes.
At this point, Derek faces one of the toughest hurdles in The Sound of Music, a lightning change. He's got to get off the stage, out of blazer and flannels, into full evening dress, and back on again, all in the course of one scene shift. When he gets to the dressing room, his wife will be waiting there to help him change. She won't allow anybody else to do it.
Can you describe what's going through your mind at the moment?
Panic, sheer panic.
How much longer have you got to get back on again?
About a minute. Okay, tie line.
What will happen if you don't get up there in time?
Well, I think we'll just have to keep dancing because I come in and break up the row that's going on.
Now, what's the most difficult part of this routine?
What, getting changed, you mean? Buttons. Let me get this trousers down.
Is this typical or better or worse than most changes?
It's a bit short time.
Still got your cuffs to do, haven't you?
Yes, that's right.
Hey, the button, what happened here?
I don't know. I'll hold it, okay?
Yeah, the button seems to come on.
Do you ever ask yourself why you do amateur theatre at times like this?
Yes, I do.
What's the answer?
I don't know. My hat and coat. White gloves.
Derek.
Tommy.
Comb your hair.
Okay, right.
I warn you, and everyone like you, and that goes for us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's much pleasanter on the terrace.
How's it going? Oh, it's going superb, absolutely superb. The audience are loving every minute of it. It wouldn't matter if the scenery fell down. Those kids have got them in the palm of their hand. They're open mouth with joy at this. You can hear a pin drop out there. You're watching every word. It's terrific.
Female dear, ray, a drop of golden sun. Need a name, I call myself. For a long, long way to run. So a needle pulling thread. Law, follow soul. Follow tree, ring with jam and bread. That will bring us back to know. That will bring us back. Do-ti la so fa mi.
Even the scenery's gone right.
Anticipation is the thing. By the end of the week, we'll be doing absolutely split changes, folks. Workload's changed.
A bunch of amateurs have taken on The Sound of Music and won. All they have to do now is hold it down for 5 more nights.
curtains down. What's your report?
I liked it, actually. Yeah, it's not bad at all. In fact, by the end of the week, it could be quite good.
Did you enjoy it? Is that the right word?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Lovely.
Second performance is always a danger because I think this one went right over the top and now we've got a problem to keep it right the way up there.
And you've got a day's work to put in tomorrow between performances, of course.
Well, I go back and have a rest during the day and then come and work in the evenings.
One of the lucky. What did you think of it?
Marvellous.
Absolutely marvellous.
Marvellously good, right? Yes.
Very good show.
You've come a long way to see it.
Yeah, it's Wimbledon, actually.
And what do you think of it?
Excellent. Excellent.
Have you seen the film?
Yes, certainly does.
How would you compare them?
Well, yes, different arrangements, yes. I prefer the film, actually. It's marvellous.
Oh, it was really marvellous.
Marvellous production. Marvellous production.
How does this production compare with the film, would you say?
It's different, but equally as nice.
For the official verdict, the Herne Bay Press.
This superb production reached beyond the restrictions of the King's Hall's cramped dimensions to open up a new era for the Herne Bay stage. One could almost say that the Downs were alive with the sound of music. And from the first appearance of the Von Trapp children, blowing like a refreshing Austrian mountain breeze across the theatre, the show never looked back.
Connie Kyra, battling against a bout of flu, conquered her initial nerves remarkably and soon had the demanding but highly rewarding role of Maria Rayner tight within her grasp.
Only one of the cast was savaged by the critic, Deirdre Day.
On the other side of the backcloth, however, I felt that Deirdre Day as Elsa Schrader was not convincing. Oh, true, her part offered little in the way of freedom. But Derek Cooper's portrayal of Captain Von Trapp was impressive, although his change of attitude towards his children happened too quickly and was not subtle enough. Fair comment?
In the past, we've had some bad write-ups on what we thought was quite passable performances, and we've seen absolutely marvellous write-ups on what we knew jolly well was a ghastly performance, so I don't think we really take too much notice of it. We like to see nice things said, but on the other hand, when I see nice things said, I always think, yes, but I don't believe it when they say horrible things, you see, so it's tempered.
How much notice do you take of what the local critic says?
None whatsoever. I don't think you can as a performer. I mean, it's the audience that counts, and if the audience enjoy it, I mean, that's what you're doing it for. You're not doing it for the local critic. He just comes along. It's just one person's opinion, isn't it? And what I always say to critics is, come and do better yourselves.
Do you know this critic?
I haven't a clue who it is, no.
It's Kevin Gear is his name.
Ah, I thought it might be, actually, yes. He is well known for giving, you know, he's learning, you know, I mean, he's only about 18 or 19, I think, so really, you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's got to learn his trade like everybody.
What do you think of it?
Well, it comes and goes a bit. It's all right, it'll do. It's good publicity. If we've got any seats left, I should sell them. Yeah. Well, he's trying desperately hard to be a critic.
It's the last night and Vic's last speech. He's bathed in glory. It's been a huge success.
It's my very proud duty to present to the National Secretary of the Handicapped Children's Pilgrimage Trust, who is here in the audience tonight, the cheque that we have collected as a result of your efforts and a result of their efforts for this charity. I'm proud to say that this cheque is for the total of £1,000. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pat Porter, Secretary of the Trust.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to sing Climb Every Mountain, although I feel I might. What can I say? My pleasure to congratulate the cast for a magnificent performance, and I have to confess, my favourite is Gretel. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of 23 handicapped children who will go to Lourdes this Easter, I thank you, the audience, who are representative of full houses every night this week, I believe. I thank you all very sincerely.
The charity is £1,000 better off, and Vic's got back the money he risked. "20 minutes later, they've cleared away the chairs in the hall. Vic has made just one more speech, thanking them for making his production a success, and there's nothing left of their 6 weeks' work except an echo in the mind.
Show's over. You know, the first feeling is, thank God it's all over. But, you know, always in the show, once you get to Saturday night and you've done it, you've really got to grips with the part, you've really got to grips with the play, then you really think, perhaps, I could really play the part. But however, you know, in amateur theatre, you only get 1 week to do it and you have to do your best.
What are you going to do next?
Well, it's probable that we're going to do The King and I, and odds are that I'll get asked to do it. It's something that's being chucked around a bit at the minute, and that's the way it's working.
So you're already thinking King and I?
Well, not really. It's there in the background, but haven't got any concrete ideas at this stage. Except there's another show full of flipping kids.
Much wear and tear on you?
Oh yes, at the time there was a fair amount of wear and tear on me because I'm fairly busy in the city and I had to organise this inside my business life, and there was a lot of wear and tear, but I'm very glad it's over in that sense.
So it's worth £1,000, a valuable £1,000 to a charity, some grey hairs for you, and some personal satisfaction.
Oh yes, certainly.
Why do you do it?
God knows. I sometimes wonder, actually, when I rush home and do the washing at night and so that I can be out in time to go to rehearsal, I sometimes wonder.
Could you ever give it up?
Oh, I think I miss it a lot because a lot of the things I like doing are solitary things. I mean, sewing, you sew alone, and cooking, you cook alone. Read, you read alone. But I'd miss the companionship that I get when I go to rehearsals. I mean, it may look as if we're always being very busy and singing and acting all the time, but we have a lot of times when we, you know, have a natter in the corner and have fun in that way. I'd miss them all terribly if I didn't, if I had to suddenly stop going for any reason.
I think, as I've said before, and it's the feeling of comradeship amongst everybody. All your friends are there, you chat about the same things. It's the thrill of going on the stage, of making people enjoy you. It's the only way we can really be somebody, other than just nobody. I go through the